Coming up, Disney's Skyliner. Welcome to the SeeWDW Near Var podcast, where we explore perspectives of the Walt Disney World Resort from 10 to 1,000 miles away. I am Mike the Far in this equation.
And I'm John the Near.
All right, today we are going to talk about the Disney Skyliner. We are going to talk about this because actually, John, the first time I think we ever did a podcast together, it was a different podcast, a different named podcast, if you will. And of course, there were three of us, and it was our first podcast. We covered the Skyliner before it opened. And I believe we were pretty darn skeptical about the how this thing would work and what it was going to be like. So,
yeah, and it still does have some scary aspects, but I think it's been shown that overall it's worked out pretty well.
Yeah, I think I'm really positive on it. In fact, sometimes I choose to stay at a certain resort depending on what I'm going to do when I come down there to visit. Just to make sure that I have Skyliner access. So I would say it's a fairly overwhelming success with a few bumps in the road at the beginning of the whole process, right?
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah. All right. So let's jump into this. Basically, for those that have never been there or haven't been there since, when did this open? 2019, I think, around there, or 2017. I forget exactly when. We'll learn later on the podcast.
But I was actually there for team member previews, and I don't remember either. I'm pretty sure it was 2019, or like you said, it could be 2018.
It could have been earlier. I don't remember, but I know I have it in my notes, and I have it buried in my notes, so we'll get to it then. But for the Skyliner is a unique transportation system in Disney World. And by unique, I mean in Disney World, because this same company, the same type of rides are all over the world. In the state of New York, they have a system very similar to this. And in a lot of Latin American countries where they have a lot of elevated towns and cities that, you have to start from a low point to get and go up a hill or a mountain. They have a lot and particular gondolas.
I saw this like in Mexico City.
Yeah. Yep. Mexico City.
And it looked awesome. I saw it like on the Discovery Channel or something.
Yeah.
I remember thinking, very cool setup they have there.
Yeah, I know of at least 3 different ones in Latin America that I believe the same company that created the Skyliner, they have them there as well. And it's the same exact gondola, just without the decorations on it, so to speak. So, okay, so the Disney Skyliner is a state-of-the-art gondola transportation system designed to provide a unique and scenic mode of transportation for guests within the Walt Disney World Resort in Florida. The concept and design behind the Disney Skyliner revolves around several key principles. First being efficiency and convenience. The Skyliner was created to offer efficient transportation between various locations within the resort. This included theme parks and resort hotels. It helps alleviate congestion on roads and buses while providing a convenient way for guests to move around the expansive property. And as a frequent resort guest, John, I definitely agree with that. I can tell you that getting to Epcot and Hollywood Studios, if you're staying at a resort on the Skyliner, is so much easier than buses.
Yeah, and I was gonna say I've never used it as a guest at a hotel, but I have been on it a lot since it opened. And again, I like it so much that I tend to go on it for fun sometimes, Like to me, like if you can see it on the screen right now,
Hmm.
it's basically a ride, Like put this up against the lesser Disney rides. This is a lot more interesting than aliens flying saucers or Dumbo or something. Like
Yeah.
this actually has a fear element to it. Like you're up there, people that are afraid of heights, people that get motion sickness, the little wobble, the bumps, and it's like it gets a little scary. You go right over the highway at some point, and
Hmm.
you're looking down, and you're like, "Wow!" So I'm sure nothing's going to break, but it makes your mind start thinking, "What would happen if this fell in the road?" It's like does it drop in the road, and then a car runs in, bus hits it, or it's like, oh, the
Yeah.
thoughts that go through your
Hey,
head. And look
no,
how high you are; they go through
yeah.
your head. That is really high up. You're probably not going to make it from dropping that high up. So.
I mean, not to mention the fact that, when you come into the station, you got some speed coming in there. It's not real fast, but it seems faster than it actually is,
They
right?
reduced it though. I'm pretty sure they spaced them out a little better or something because we were there when they were testing it for cast members, and I was trying to find those videos to show you, but it was going like really like a whoo, like right at it. And I
Yeah.
remember, we were on with friends, and their kids were literally scared. They were like, they thought they were going to crash every time.
Hmm.
And then later we heard, oh yeah, some of them did crash, and it's like, well, there you go. I guess it was a good fear.
Yeah,
Because
they worked it out eventually, so but
yeah, I'm pretty sure they spaced them or somehow slowed that down a little because it used to feel like you go like this as you're coming in, like,
yeah.
and it's not quite that bad now. It's still you can feel it, but it doesn't feel quite as bad as it did.
Yeah. And what we're seeing right now, another aspect of or concept and design behind the Skyliner revolves around scenic views. The gondolas offer passengers breathtaking aerial views of the resort, theme parks, and surrounding landscapes. This adds an extra layer of entertainment and immersion to the guest experience, making the journey itself an enjoyable part of the overall visit. And I really like that part of it because you really go over a lot of different types of surfaces, parking lots, highways, like almost like wetlands, swamps,
Yeah,
forests, like, and even, lakes, so you
and
go over a lake.
right over the Caribbean Beach Resort. You're going
Right.
right over the hotel. It's like that is cool to look down. You see beaches and pools and hotels and people walking around, and it's like it's just a really, really cool mode of transportation. And I know I've said it before, but I can't tell you how many times I've gone. Like I downgraded my pass this year.
Hmm.
If I'm itching for Disney experience, though, I will park at Hollywood Studios, jump on this. I might ride it to Pop Century or Art of Animation, or I might just take it over to Epcot and walk back. I might get off at Caribbean Beach and look at the Christmas decorations there. Walk over to Riviera, get some quick service food, and I've already gotten quick service food at Riviera. I walked it to an outside table at Caribbean Beach, and in the winter when it's beautiful outside and breezy, it's really cool. I'm just sitting there eating lunch at the Caribbean Beach Resort, and I might not be going to any parks that day, but I sure get a fill of Disney. Like
Hmm.
I get my fill just from that. So
Yeah, I love that. I love that you do that. That's the way to experience it if you're a local, right?
yeah, I think so.
All right. Another aspect was seamless integration. The Skyliner system is seamlessly integrated into the existing infrastructure of the resort. The stations are strategically located near major attractions and resort hotels, allowing for easy transfer and convenient access for guests, which we just saw in your video. That was the transfer. There are transfer points. We will get to that later, what those transfer points are. But it makes it really easy as far as their integration goes. How they made this work. Yeah, I mean, they really did some good planning with this.
And the other thing that I would say about it too is that it is actually, it's not bad to look at,
Mm-hmm.
like when you're at Hollywood Studios, and it is it's actually really nice. Like
Mm-hmm.
like to see them going by in the background music again. I think of it kind of like I think of the monorail as it's fun to ride. It's also just cool to see it going by, like
Yeah.
even at the gas station at Disney World, the one by the beach club, I'm pumping gas and I look up and I see Skyliners going over, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
just very cool.
And you can hear it very subtly going overhead. I've used that gas station before. You can hear it real subtle. That kind of line sound as it's going on the line, but you can also hear every once in a while, doo doo doo, that
Yeah,
bell kind of sound, right? So,
it sure does have a definite sound to it when it goes over those bumps.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it does.
I closed this for a minute because I'm not sure if I found the right date or not, but I'm seeing November 28th, 2019.
Yeah,
It looks
that,
like it's pretty new, and I'm seeing in the video it stops, and then I'm like it was like an abrupt stop and stuff. So I was gonna pull that up quick and you know go through them just for fun. And again, I'm not 100% sure if that is the opening date or not, or close to it, but it's definitely 2019 though. So
yeah, it says, yep, 2019, September 29th, 2019. Again, we'll get to it later, but that's when it was, September.
oh, all right. So this isn't the newest one then. All right.
So the other part, and this kind of goes hand in hand with what you had just said, is themed experiences. Each gondola is adorned with Disney characters, icons, and artwork, adding a touch of that Disney magic to the transportation experience. The design of the gondolas reflects various Disney properties, creating a visually appealing and immersive atmosphere. Now, I know I think they're all pretty much they all have the decals on them now, right? Dude, or some of
No,
them
there's
free of it.
clear ones. No, there's still
There's
clear ones.
still clear ones. Okay, so I remember early on, and I think more and more as the thing has existed, got that IP on the side of it. But what I like about, and I'm not one that really touts IP driven experiences for Disney, but in this particular case, I sort of like it because it's almost like you kind of hope that if you're a Star Wars fan that you get this Star Wars themed one, or maybe you want the Mandalorian one with Baby Yoda, or maybe you want the the one with the stormtroopers and Darth Vader or Chewbacca or something like that. And or maybe it's a Marvel experience, a Marvel one. But seeing they didn't they look good. I think how they've integrated the
Yeah,
characters onto them.
yeah, they've done really good graphic design on it. Basically, like I
Yeah,
always enjoy seeing all the different ones and when they add new ones and stuff. The only complaint I could say with it is I don't like when they uh, when they don't clean the windows enough. Like in the winter time, it hasn't been raining much in Florida, and man, you can see the dirt build up and
Mm-hmm.
the smudges inside, and I like to be able to see out the windows. And when I did a lot of my recordings, I actually would I actually would bring my own rag. I would put water on it, wipe it, and wipe it with a dry and clean the windows, because I'm like I can't even. But when the outside's dirty, there's nothing I can do
There's
about
nothing you
that.
can do with that. Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing I can do about the outside. But yeah, so I didn't find the newest ones, but there are some from 2019,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah,
So they've designed these also with a low environmental impact. The Disney Skyliner design incorporates eco-friendly features such as its use of electric power and minimal impact on the environment compared to traditional transportation methods. So I guess that depends on how you're getting your electric delivered, right? Is it coming from a coal plant or, you know?
I'm thinking since it's not air conditioned or anything. I guess
Yeah.
it takes less electric though too. So
Yeah, that's a
that's
good
my
point.
guess. 'Cause I don't know where the power. I guess it's at the stations. There's something turning. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
But I often thought about that. The monorails have the electrified track, like along the whole track is electric.
Hmm.
And I am not an electrician, but I thought electricity loses power over long periods, and especially in that environment, that the monorail is a real consumer of electric in a big way, would be my guess. That it's not cheap to run the electric on those things. That's my
Hmm.
guess. I've never done any real research into it. So
Hmm. Yeah, that's a good point actually. It would have to travel along that pathway, right? So consume a lot of electric, especially from now from Magic Kingdom to Epcot, or from transportation TTC to Epcot. Man,
yeah, it's a long and yeah, I was they never stop running those things too. They're all over the place. So it's
mm, yeah.
maybe it's not as bad as I think, but I'm like I said, I'm not an expert in any way. So
Mm. So the innovative technology, which kind of along the lines of what we're talking about, the gondolas feature advanced technology for efficient loading and unloading, as well as safety measures to ensure a smooth and secure ride experience for passengers. So what I like about this is it almost reminds you of an Omni Mover, right? How it moves and, it's constantly loading.
although I can tell you, I have seen many times I'm standing there and people are talking to each other.
Mhm.
I've often wondered how the heck could this thing stop so much? It's gas. They're like, wait a minute, wait, let's get
Yeah.
where's Susie? And then they put the stroller in and hold their and the people are
Yeah.
like, you have to get in, you have to get in. And they're like, yeah, but blah 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 blah. And it's like, and then I watch as they hit the button and the whole thing stops. And I'm like, because it made me think they have for handicapped accessibility, they have it goes off the track and goes forward, so it doesn't hold
Yeah.
anybody up at all. If you need a special, if you need time to get on, it doesn't hold anybody up, which is great. But it's still
It's very guest dependent, right? On the efficiency part of it. And I think, John, that was the problem early on with the Skyliner, the education of the customer, right? Of the guest. And if you remember when that thing broke down and had the really bad one the one time and guests were stuck up there for a couple hours, that was as a result of somebody trying to, screw around with the stroller and not get on there in an efficient manner. And I think from the cast member to the guest, the education wasn't there yet enough as to what the consequences of this stuff were, you know. I think it's different now. I think you don't have as many guests kind of wondering how you do how you do this, how you do that, and get on, get off.
You still get a lot of stops though. You
You
just
do,
again,
you do.
but you get that everywhere. I watched the other day as people wouldn't get on in the Haunted Mansion buggy. They wouldn't get on. I watched at Universal. People, all they have to do is walk into Popeye's raft,
Hmm.
and they're standing there. They're talking, and it's going around the entire dock. I'm like, they're going to shut this down. I can already see it. Sure enough, the people just could not walk in and sit down. They just couldn't. The
Hmm.
group of people just could not do it. Once the whole ride stopped, and then they got in somehow and were able to sit down. But I'm like, again, people are always the factor.
They're the problem, right? Yeah, a lot of times.
I was going to say, you can hear this, right?
I can't hear that. No.
No, no, that's all right then. I just thought
Inter-
you'd be able to because I was sharing the window. Or no, I'm
oh,
not sharing the window. Never mind.
yeah.
Maybe I should be.
The other part of this, and this is the final part of this section, is the operational flexibility. The Skyliner is designed to accommodate various weather conditions, and the gondolas can be easily stopped or slowed down in the event of inclement weather, which does happen quite often. When when the lightning and thunder and the rain comes, they'll run it if there's no lightning in the area. But if as soon as there's any kind of sign of lightning, man, it stops. And then certain wind conditions too, they'll stop it.
Yeah, I've already seen it for wind too, and that's the only scary part that makes me. And I'm not afraid to be in it with lightning or whatever. I don't like being stuck places. So if you're like at Epcot and you're like, I'm going to watch the fireworks,
Hmm.
then I'm going to take my Disney Skyliner back to the Pop Century. It's going to be great, and it's like, and then a storm comes in, and you're like, well, now I have to go across the complete opposite end of Epcot and go out and wait in a bus to get it, which completely throws off all the plans you had in your head. But
Hmm.
yeah, I was gonna say, let me know if you can hear it now. I think you can. Oh,
Beach Resort.
I
We're flying
can,
to
yes.
Disney Riviera Resort with
Yep, I can
continuing
hear it.
flights to Epcot.
Yeah.
yes, that's going over the
Hold on to your
Caribbean beach.
straw hats. We are about to
Yeah.
enter the heart of the Caribbean.
Yeah, I like the little narrations too.
I
Like
do too.
when I post it, people are always like, "Oh, instant classic now," because it reminds them of their vacation. You hear
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
We are now sailing over Disney's Caribbean Beach Resort, home to a collection of tropical villages inspired by the colorful architecture and lifestyle of the Caribbean islands.
Yeah, I do like that too.
I do too.
I love the little sound system. So very
Yeah,
well done.
I love it too. Overall, the concept and design of the Skyliner aims to enhance the guest experience by providing a convenient, enjoyable, and visually appealing mode of transportation that aligns with the magic and charm of the brand. I would also say the sounds involved, as you just illustrated, it's part of it, right?
Yeah. People are already associating it. Like it's only been there, a few years now, but it's
Mhm.
already in people's minds. It's a big part of their trip. It's an ingrained memory because again, how often do you go on gondola rides? Not very often. I'm sure you might go on a couple in your life, but it's not something normal for most people. So
Sure,
it's
absolutely.
it's one of those core memories that gets made, and it fit perfect. And again, I think unintentionally, but with that classic Disney weirdness, riding a
Hmm.
monorail, riding a gondola, those things you think of it only in Disney World. And again, it's not only there, but it really ingrains that in your head.
Yeah, there's not a lot of information on who specifically came up with the original concept. I'm sure it's out there somewhere, but I couldn't find it.
Probably it's. I think it's people in it's like Sweden or somewhere came up with it. You know what I mean? Like I'm pretty sure it wasn't an American.
Oh, sure. Yeah. But I mean, as far as the Disney part of it, as far as who at Disney came up with the idea, well, why don't we do a gondola instead of, extending the monorail track,
Probably the accountant who said, I found a cheaper alternative that, they told us they could do it for a fraction of the price. And they were like, all right.
It probably was.
I was going to say, if you look here, I think it's a stoppage.
Yeah.
And you can see
how it rocks. That's
see when it stops, they're all going and moving. And
yeah.
And again, this is the earlier time, but it does make it look a little scarier. Like it's definitely a little rougher. And I think this video is 2019 too. So I don't.
Yeah,
I wonder if it still comes in fast. I'm not sure.
Let's talk about the routes that are, where the routes are and where they stop. Route 1 being Hollywood Studios to Caribbean Beach Resort. That particular route, there you have Disney's Hollywood Studios Station. This station is located near the entrance of Disney's Hollywood Studios theme park, right in the parking lot there. And it takes you to the Caribbean Beach Resort Station, which is the hub station for Route 1. And actually provides connections to other routes. That is like the big hub station for the entire Skyliner, I believe, right? The Caribbean Beach. Route 2 is the Caribbean Beach to Pop Century and Art of Animation resorts. Again, inside this big station for Caribbean Beach is there are 3 separate routes, 3 lines that go to either one of these destinations. So that again is the big hub.
You got to think too that makes Caribbean Beach a pretty decent spot too.
It does.
When you're there, you could go Epcot or Hollywood right off. There's 2 resorts. That's pretty cool because you can get to it from Pop too, but it's an extra route added on. So, but if you stay at the Caribbean Beach, you can walk right over and boom, you're on.
Yeah. And so from here you have the Caribbean Beach Resort Station, as mentioned earlier. This station serves as the hub for multiple routes. You can get to the Disney Riviera Resort Station. It's the Riviera stop, that's pretty short, and that one keeps moving, right? And you can hop out or you can stay on, and it's almost in a loop, like a half loop rather. The Disney, in fact, that's the one that we're watching right now, I believe, isn't it? Is this the Riviera station?
Yep.
Okay. And then you have the Pop Century station, which is located near the Pop Century Resort. It doubles as the Art of Animation Resort Station as well. You enter that station on the Pop Century side, you exit that station on the Art of Animation side. And by side, I mean, you just go right or left. So it's not like it's pointing in one direction. It lets out on a bridge that takes you either way. So, Route 3 is the Epcot to Riviera or Caribbean Beach station. That is how you get back and forth from Epcot. And this will start you at, depending on what your perspective is here, this station at Epcot International Gateway Station is situated near the International Gateway entrance of Epcot.
If you are planning to visit World Showcase today, now might be a good time to practice your holas.
And that is where this is going, right?
When you arrive at each nation's pavilion, cultural hosts will be waiting to greet you in their native language.
I love that.
Epcot, a truly international exchange.
That's awesome. And then they do things in different languages too, here and there, right?
Yeah. That's what they did there. I think they do a spiel where they say welcome in a few different
Yeah.
languages.
Disney Riviera Station, as mentioned earlier, this station is a stop along Route 3. Yeah, there it is. And Disney's Caribbean Beach Resort is the hub station for Route 3, connecting with all the other routes. I was just going to
sorry,
say.
I didn't
No, that's good. I don't know. It's great. From these stations, guests can transfer between routes or disembark at their desired location, including various Disney resorts, hotels, and theme parks. The Skyliner offers a convenient and scenic way to travel between them while providing stunning aerial views of the resorts and the attractions. All right, so...
Yeah, and this is an example of me just taking pictures of the Skyliner because I think it looks really cool. So
I do too.
I find it very picturesque. So yeah, that's what I said. For me, it's like it's like an attraction in and of itself.
It is. It really is.
We are now arriving at Epcot. To all who come to this place of joy, hope, and friendship, welcome.
Yeah, that's just really nice.
Yeah, I love it. I love that they play the music then as you come in. That's really cool.
Yeah, I don't know how Disney did it at a time where they weren't doing a lot of great stuff.
Please remain seated until the doors automatically open.
Whoever was the team in charge of writing the scripts and adding the fun stuff and casting the voices and stuff, they did a great job of making it feel very Disney. You know, like it's the Skyliner to me feels like
collect your belongings
and it's so new. It shouldn't.
Thank you for flying with us.
And so much of other things that they do don't feel classic anymore, you know. But this, they must have gave it to the old guys, been like, yeah,
that's what I'm thinking. Yeah,
stuff in, you know, and
whoever the team is, it's probably they were waiting for the screens and the footage to be filmed, the screens to be made and footage to be filmed for Cosmic Rewind, probably. And this is what they did in the meantime. Just a few facts about the gondolas themselves. Efficient loading. The gondolas are equipped with an innovative loading system that enables them to slow down or even pause briefly at stations. And this allows guests to embark and disembark with ease. It helps maintain the overall system's efficiency and prevents the need for the entire system to stop. Although, as John said, if the guests aren't paying attention and they're messing around with their house trailer that they put their kid in when they wheel around the park, that can be a problem. And it may cause the cast member to have to hit the stop button and stop the whole system. So in essence, when you stop or when you mess around or when you do something stupid, and I'm sorry, it just is stupid, and that's me talking, then you cause the entire line to stop, you know? And I don't really think, they give you a long plank there to get on the Skyliner.
There's
so
more than enough time. But again, and I do stupid stuff sometimes.
I do too. Yeah.
And the older I get, the more I seem to do. But when it comes to the Skyliner, though, like I said, I've seen it so many times where I'm just sitting there watching, shaking my head, like,
you know, it's coming.
Yeah, I can see it coming, and sure enough, you know, it's like, wow, I'm negotiating with my 4-year-old as to if he's going to get in, or it's like, yeah, this is going to be a problem.
Yeah,
it just and it is. And
in my family, there's never a negotiation. It's like, get in there.
Yeah, I'm always very concerned with other people's experience. So I would have been like, I don't care what you want. I'm not going to inconvenience all these people, and you're going, you know.
Yeah,
that's
exactly. That's what how I look at it. Cabin capacity, the gondolas vary in size, with some accommodating up to 10 passengers. I did not know that, but most of them do take 10 passengers. this makes them ideal for families and groups traveling together. I think some of the ones that accommodate people with physical disabilities accommodate a little bit less, right? So that's why they put that in there. The ventilation and comfort, this is the thing that amazed me, because this is what I've always been skeptical about, or I was previously, but the gondolas are designed with comfortable seating and a passive ventilation system that keeps the cabins cool and comfortable for passengers, even during warm Florida weather. I don't know what warm Florida weather is, but I do know what the surface of the sun feels like, and that is something above 100 degrees, right? And that is Florida.
I can tell you with experience, and look, it's stopping the one I'm on. Like when it stops like that, the heat does come and it does get you. And when it was newer, I had a couple of stops that were, like this was probably like a 1 minute stop. It's probably just a guest that was saying, "Hold on, my father's coming. Wait." It's like, and halfway in the gondola and refuse. You know what I mean? Like they do it on purpose sometimes. But anyway, I've already been there where it's like a 5 minute wait, and I'm up there at Hollywood Studios, the Hollywood to Caribbean one. Sun is beating directly on it. And I'm just sitting there hanging in the air, and sweat started. And I was like, oh man, the air started getting thick. And I'm like, there is no air going through this. And I was like, oh man, this is not good. Like I started thinking, I don't know if I like the Skyliner much, because I with that heat, I wouldn't want to be in there for hours. Luckily, it started going again. So as long as it's moving, it has ventilation top and bottom, like your legs and everything. Like the air's just going through, and it's not bad. But yeah, if it stops in the sun on a hot Florida midday, ooh.
And I'm with you on that. I've been in there where it's been kind of like that, but for the most part, I haven't experienced that. Like it catches a lot of wind. Like it does a real good job, especially when it goes over like water, like we're looking on screen right now, where it's kind of catching one of those retention ponds, and even those, it seems to catch some kind of wind. So I will say, I agree with you that I've been stopped up there in the beating down sun. And what's worse is I've even been in there. There was an experience where there was a kid that was coughing like crazy. He clearly was sick. And this was during like the COVID era, Oh, excuse me. I will probably get your video flag now, but during the recent times, and in that particular era, this kid, was just coughing and hacking, and his dad closed the vent that was up top. And this was at night, but still it was very warm out, and he closed the vent because I don't know what he was thinking, but that's the opposite of what you should do in that situation. And it started to make it very uncomfortable, and the air very still in there. So I sort of wish at times that they would make that, like a monolith as far as like being open. It shouldn't be able to be closed. I just, you shouldn't have to breathe someone else's air like that, and I'm not even afraid of catching anything, because I'll get over it. But I'm just saying some people maybe, might have a problem with that.
Yeah. I guess
and
given the option, I'll always take fresh air.
Yeah, me too. And that's what I was thinking.
Especially with 10 people are in it. But
yeah.
Speaking of that, after the shutdown and reopening, I really enjoyed it because they would not put people together.
No, it was nice,
so
right?
I can't tell you how many rides I took with one person. I got a 10 person gondola, and I'm like, man, this is living.
Yeah.
I'm just sailing across the sky in a gondola in my own private Skyliner. So
yeah.
I really did like that. Although we talked about it before. I haven't recently, but for a time, I did spark up a lot of conversations with people on the Skyliner though too, because you're sitting there looking right at them, and it worked out
Sure.
well for that too, which was nice. But
Yeah, absolutely. I love that about Disney transportation in general. You know, that's the fun part of it. So another fact is about the cabling system. The gondolas are suspended from a cable system that's designed to operate efficiently while maintaining safety standards. Cable spans across various heights, including over the bodies of water and park areas. And the sound that comes from the cables and the gondolas on the cables, I love that. You know, it's got a unique sound, especially going overhead.
yeah,
Yeah. So, also, let's see here. Stunning views. We kind of already covered that. The audio visual experience. Some of the gondolas feature the character decals on the windows that playfully interact with the environment outside. Also, the script that is in the cabins that will play from time to time, which we heard earlier. The quiet operations. The gondolas operate quietly, ensuring a peaceful and enjoyable ride experience for passengers. On the weather considerations, the gondolas are designed to operate safely in a variety of conditions, and special attention was given to engineering them to withstand strong winds and rain. And here is something that is really interesting to me, John, is rapid deployment. The Disney Skyliner project was executed relatively quickly from its announcement to its operational debut, showcasing Disney's ability to bring innovative transportation solutions to life efficiently. Isn't that interesting? This thing was actually announced in 2017. Can you believe that? And it was up and running by 2019.
we need to talk to some people over at Epcot.
Yes, they do. The integration with themed environments. The stations are designed to seamlessly blend with the theme of their respective locations, enhancing the overall guest experience. These facts highlight the thoughtfulness and creativity that went into designing and constructing the Skyliner, making it a standout transportation system that adds an extra layer of magic to the Walt Disney World experience. All right, now this next segment, John, is about basically riding the Skyliner, which we kind of went over as we were already doing this. So we really don't have to cover this with too much time, but I definitely want to talk about, really my favorite probably experience on the Skyliner is, when, October 1st of the anniversary, the 50th anniversary, the first day of the 50th anniversary, you and myself and my wife were standing in Epcot, and we were looking at the times on October 1st when the park was supposed to be so busy that you couldn't get on anything. And we looked at the MDE, the Disney app, and there was Star Wars Rise of Resistance with a 20-minute wait. We practically ran to the Skyliner and hopped on and made our way to Hollywood Studios.
Yeah, I remember that.
And on October 1st, the opening day of the 50th anniversary, and got on Rise of Resistance with about a 20-minute wait. That was so awesome that day. I couldn't believe it. We went from, I think we might have been at the Imagination Pavilion or the Land Pavilion, one or the other.
I think was that when? No, never mind. That was a different time. I was going to say, was that when we were on Guardians? But no.
No, it was different because Guardians wasn't open yet, I don't think. So
Yeah, probably the Land or something.
yeah, and so we made our way over there. You were going to go home that day, and eventually you did, and I think you met up with your wife and you came back, and we saw the show. We didn't get to meet up because we were doing a 4-park. My wife and I went to all 4 parks that day, and checked out the new fireworks show at Magic Kingdom. Then came back to Epcot to end the night and meet you and your wife to to see the new Epcot show. And obviously, you know how you and I both feel about it. We didn't miss much, but I did get to see the whole show. We just didn't get to meet up. We just couldn't get there in time. But I loved riding the Skyliner that day. That was one of my favorite experiences because it was just, man, I almost felt like we were robbing a bank or something. You know, it was great. It was really fun. But as far as riding the Skyliner experience, that is something that I will not forget. The one thing I wanted to mention is that isn't in any of this material. On that Epcot route, isn't it the Epcot route where there is? Oh, hello, Dylan. Dylan said hi, SeeWDW. Hope you're having a great day. There is that round. You kind of hit that station, not really a station where you can exit or enter, but you know what I mean? What do they call that?
It's a turnabout or something.
Turnabout. That's what they call it.
It's just made because Skyliners can't turn, so there has to be a station to change direction. So it's the only way they can do it.
Yeah, so you do approach that, you slow down a little bit, you go around it, and that kind of changes your direction, like you said, John. Any experiences that in particular you want to share, John, from the Skyliner?
I don't know about any in particular. I mean, I guess I like it a little bit more too because my wife was a cast member at the time when it first was opening, so we got to be some of the guinea pigs to test it out. And so I was thinking, it was it made it a little more special to me.
Mm-hmm.
I was among the first people to ride it anywhere. So since my wife, and that's one of the things I do miss about her working for Disney. She was gonna work there again, and then decided against it. But half of me was saying don't do it because they would fire you in a heartbeat over anything. It's like, oh, there's a new cough going around. Everyone's fired. It's like, but also part of me wanted her to do it because I missed the special things I got to do. And that was one of them. Although I guess they're not doing that much now, so I'm not missing too much. But
yeah.
And maybe Epic Universe will allow you to bring your family to to test out some rides. They might be like, you're allowed to bring family members. If that's the case,
yep. You have an in. You have an in for Universal. How about that? Yeah, you never know. I will say that just a real short thing about the behind the scenes maintenance and operations. There's a lot of logistics and maintenance that is involved in the Skyliner. They have even gotten into the habit of shutting it down. I believe it's part of just a scheduled routine maintenance in January. When I was down in January, they were talking about that. I think the next week or the week after, like maybe week 2 or week 3 in January, they shut it down for, a short period of time just to perform this maintenance. But the Skyliner, they do routine inspections. They do their preventive maintenance. They go over emergency protocols, which are comprehensive protocols in place to handle various scenarios such as weather, power outages, technical malfunctions. They are very vigilant in monitoring the weather. They do a lot of staff training. And did you ever notice there's not too many people that are earning their ears, so to speak, that I've seen in the Skyliner stations? So at least manning the the controls themselves. So they must have some pretty good, well-trained people there.
Yeah, you got to think that is a pretty difficult one to have someone new on, because again, there's a lot of people at once. There's a lot of real world safety concerns and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, absolutely. People's lives in your hands, Communication is crucial among staff members at the different stations, and I've seen that. They do communicate quite a bit. They have some of them have earpieces, some of them have walkies. They are constantly talking to each other. So I've noticed that myself. The guest services, they've trained cast members to assist guests at each station, such as those that are physically disabled and those that are boarding and disembarking. And so, they almost have to go through a training program with each guest if they're brand new at this thing, that, hey, it's okay. It's moving, but you can get on it, and it's not really moving fast.
Yeah, I was going to say that's the weird thing about parks. It literally takes years to train your customers too. So
yeah, right.
Things that you can't just have something. It takes a long time to train customers.
It sure does. It really does. Supply chain management. They have a well-organized supply chain for spare parts, tools, equipment. They monitor data constantly. They collaborate constantly with Imagineering. They schedule downtime, as I talked about earlier, and they have continuous training every such and such. They have to every so many months recertify and retrain, which is common with most big companies, that you have machines and things like that.
Yeah, the only warning that I have to give, and it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with Disney, this kind of gondola system is used, like you said, it's in South American countries, it's in Europe, it's all over the place, it's widely used. If anybody has something bad that happens in, then like if something bad happens to any of these, not Disney's, but one in another country somewhere, every single news person in the world is going to say, tragedy happened, and it's just like the one at Disney. And they're going to make sure everybody thinks about that, and again, I hope it doesn't happen, but if it does, that's a risk that's beyond Disney's control. They might do all the maintenance and training and redundancies and everything, but say one in Mexico, the thing just falls off and people are hurt or whatever. Everybody's going to say, Disney, they have it too. Dangerous. Mm-hmm. They're putting people at risk. And it's like, I hope that never happens, because I really love the Skyliner. But again, if somebody else doesn't do proper maintenance and something happens, people,
they're going to come back, you're right, on Disney and say that that's going to happen there, and it's probably it's not going to happen. Most likely it's not going to happen. So it's, the chances of that occurring at Disney are way less than, say, somewhere else.
You're in a lot more danger of driving to the parking lot first.
You absolutely are.
Especially in Florida, a lot more.
Try driving on I-4 on your way to Disney. Yeah, it's like exactly the most dangerous road in America. So, yeah. By carefully managing these logistics, Disney ensures that the Skyliner operates smoothly and safely, providing guests with that magical and enjoyable transportation system throughout the resort. So this next part is interesting to me, and this is where we'll finish up. We'll say a couple last words and everything on it, but the Imagineering section of future developments. This is all rumors. This is speculation and rumors about where they might expand or might have expanded the Skyliner. The concept of the Disney Skyliner was first announced by Disney in July 2017. This announcement was made as part of Disney's ongoing effort to enhance transportation options and experiences within the resort in Florida. The Skyliner was introduced as a new gondola transportation system that would connect various resorts, hotels, and parks, providing guests with a unique and scenic way to move around the resort. The initial announcement generated excitement and anticipation amongst fans and visitors who were looking forward to this experience. The Disney Skyliner officially began operations on September 29th, 2019. This offered guests the opportunity to enjoy the aerial views of the resort while traveling between the destinations. Since its introduction, the Skyliner has become a distinctive and popular transportation option within the resort, adding to the convenience of the guest experience. Now, that is the basic byline of the whole thing and where we're at today. I want to speculate about the future, John. I want to talk about where they can take this thing going forward. And there have been rumors. The rumors about this, there has been a rumor of an expansion to Disney Springs. And they believe that there is an existing plan to go from the Caribbean Beach and Disney Springs in that hub. I would too.
I love that because I rarely go to Disney Springs because I don't like driving there. I don't like parking there. And I do like riding Disney Skyliner though. So for me, I would go to Disney Springs a lot more than I do with some type of Skyliner access.
I totally agree, and I would too. There are also rumors that have been out there about future connections to additional hotels. Now, I don't have this in here, but I have seen a speculation map or a rumor map where they had plans or potential plans to connect Animal Kingdom Lodge and some of the resorts out there, such as the All-Star resorts in that general vicinity. And by extension, which is what we're going to talk about next, the future theme park connections, Animal Kingdom itself.
I think they would do that just to up the amount of people going there. So I think it would help.
I think they should do it.
Yeah, I like that idea too. And here's one thing that no one ever thinks about when they talk about the Skyliner or whatever. I feel like this made Pop Century and Art of Animation, Caribbean Beach, and the Riviera all places to go to say have lunch, to explore, to get like it made them more alive with visitors outside of just guests staying there. Because before a lot of those hotels, it's like you have to get a bus there because you may not be able to park there, and it was like it's just very isolated and quiet, which is nice. But like I said, if you added that to like the Animal Kingdom Lodge, so many more people would want to eat at the Animal Kingdom Lodge, go to the gift shop, just visit it, buy, you know what I mean? And that helps with economics and spreading people out too. The more people you have at the resorts, why not have some at the hotels, buying things and eating, and instead of everybody's jammed in the park. If you're at Animal Kingdom, jump on the gondola and say, I'm going to go eat at the quick service or Sanaa. Sanaa would probably be booked always, because you just jump on the Skyliner. It's a great place to eat, even if you're at the park. So
I really think, and I agree with you 100%. Sanaa is a great, the Animal Kingdom Lodge, besides being almost an attraction in and of itself, in my opinion, has some of the best dining on property. I would also say that Disney right now has a real problem with their moderate hotels, filling them up, getting people in. Bookings are an issue. I think the Skyliner, if it had a route to places like Port Orleans, which isn't that far away from the Skyliner route as it exists right now, if you had a Skyliner station between Port Orleans Riverside and Port Orleans French Quarter, I believe you would probably get further bookings in those hotels. Um, I'm not really sure how that would affect. Like, I don't think you could get necessarily Skyliner down to Fort Wilderness, although there's a lot of things that would make sense at Fort Wilderness for the Skyliner.
Yeah, I don't think they do it though.
I think it's too far out there.
They'll stick with the boat for that too. Just
Yeah.
plus, I don't think they want that to be too connected. But
I don't think they do either. So I don't know that they're ever going to connect the Skyliner to Magic Kingdom, so to speak. But they could connect the Skyliner to the monorail loop, right? Where you could get off of a platform on a monorail station in front of Epcot.
if it could stop near the TTC anywhere, that's a big area. So
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that they could do there, but again, I think if they would connect at least the moderate resorts and maybe Animal Kingdom Lodge, and Disney Springs, this thing, man, it would be awesome. I think it would really enhance their bookings and enhance the park experience itself.
yeah, I'm all for them expanding anywhere they can.
Yep, me too. All right, John, that is all I have on the speculation. Any closing thoughts on the Skyliner?
No, I think I shared all my thoughts for the most part. Basically, I really enjoy it. I think of it as one of my favorite free rides at the Walt Disney World Resort. And when I'm blocked out, I still will go, and I may have lunch at the Caribbean Beach or Riviera or Art of Animation. I enjoy eating at those places and just enjoy the atmosphere if I'm blocked out of the park. So again, for me, it's a ride and transportation, and a pretty darn good ride. So
Yep, it's safe to say it's an attraction. I would add to your list of places to go. You can get off the Epcot station and walk over to the boardwalk.
yep, I do that a lot. I've already gotten off in the beach club and the
Yacht Club, right?
yacht club.
Yacht
I
Club.
actually like the yacht club. They have some good food there.
They
I
do.
forget what it was, some kind of melt or something. I've gotten it twice, and when I'm in that area, the yacht club is quiet, and the quick service place to eat, it's well done, but kind of like hidden in there. It's quiet, cool place to just duck out and eat in there. So I really do enjoy it. I really do.
Yep, and I would say Boardwalk, one of my favorite places, which I've talked about many
Oh,
times on this
I
podcast.
I heard the corn dog place that they have in Disneyland, which I've never been to, but is really popular and very good, is coming to the boardwalk.
Oh,
So
man.
I look forward to trying that because Disneyland, I've never been there, but I'm convinced based on what everybody says and pictures and this, that they just have better food there overall.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy to have that. And I'm not even a big corn dog person, but I'm willing to learn. If it's
Yep.
good. I'll start. I'll try it.
It's another option, right? You don't have to give me another option to go to the boardwalk. I love that place. So, one other thing that I would say as far as weather, when there's a weather shutdown on the Skyliner, they do give you options at Epcot and Hollywood Studios. They add buses, and if you happen to be caught on that Skyliner ramp, and then you're like, what do I do? And say you go to the beach club. Sometimes they will bring, if you talk to somebody at the beach club, they'll bring a bus there for you. If there's a crowd of you that went to the beach club because you got caught in that line on the Skyliner and you have a shutdown now. So they will get you transportation. Don't worry, wherever you walk at a Disney resort, if you need to go somewhere, they'll bring a bus and they'll get you to where you need to go. So sometimes you have to say something about it. In a particular instance where it's shut down while I was walking up the ramp to go to the Skyliner at Epcot, there were, I'd say there's probably like 30 or 40 of us, and we exited the park, and we weren't going to go back through the park, and re-ticket in. They told us to go to the beach club, and we walked out to the buses at the beach club, and there was a bus waiting for us. I had to go to Pop Century. I think that's where I was staying at the time, either Pop or Art of Animation. I don't remember which, but they got us there. They got us off our bus, and it wasn't a big problem, not a lot of drama. So that's something to think about. Just another tip, just another thing in case you get yourself in a situation there. And as far as my thoughts on the Skyliner, again, I've said it throughout the podcast. One of my absolute, and it is actually my absolute favorite form of transportation at the resort. I love Pop Century. I loved it before the Skyliner was installed and activated, and I love it even more now that the Skyliner is there. And it's given me reason to try Art of Animation, which I've gone there and stayed a couple times now. I've stayed at the Caribbean Beach many, many years ago. I haven't gone back. I would love to go back to the Caribbean Beach now because of the Skyliner. And you never know, I might rent points to go to the Riviera as well. So my thoughts on the Skyliner, it makes those places even more worth staying at. And Disney recognizes that too, because I think they jacked the prices up on those places as a result. All right, so that should do it for the Skyliner. John, where can they find you online?
You can find me at SeeWDW on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and SeeUO on Instagram and Facebook.
All right, and you can find me at The Giant Rat, THEE Giant Rat, on all the socials, and that should do it for this one. We will see you on the next one.